Hey guys, how's it going? Kevin Cleary here with a knife video, and this is just going to be a quick price discussion. We've done this before. We've talked about price and price versus value a number of times here, and so I'm going to bring it up again because this is something that is, very important to, at least to me as a knife consumer. I'm sure there's some people out there who don't care about value, who want what they want. If they like the design and the materials are subpar for the price, they don't care. They're just going to pull the trigger and buy it. I'm not one of those people, right? I can't just do that. And I know many of you are not either. And so because of that, one of the things that I comment on, one of the things that you guys comment on in the discussion portion of my videos is this worth it, right? Does this purchase make sense from a utility standpoint? And I think that's really, really important. I've got just the Recon One and the Super Freak here. Both are knives that I really, really like. Neither one of these is what I would consider cheap, budget friendly, whatever. They're both going to cost you a little bit of money. But let's bring in a knife that is fairly affordable. All right. Here is the Mora Companion. Now, just a cheap, easy to get a hold of knife, carried all over the place. Order these things on Amazon. I don't want to say this for sure, but I think this was only around 15 bucks, right? So pretty affordable. And the performance on these is really, really good. I've carried this. I've done lots of work with it. You can see that I've struck fire steel with it a little bit, but I've also beat on it to pound it through some branches and stuff like that. And it's great, right? I have no complaint whatsoever about this knife, but it is not, I don't know, a Bark River. It's not a cold steel. One of my favorite fixed blades is this one right here. You also know the Line Steel M4 for even a little bit more money than this. So if I'm going outdoors, will a Mora Companion do most of what I need? Yeah, for $15. So why on earth would I buy this for, I think these are like 120 bucks, and sometimes they get cheaper. But the Lion Steel, the M4 that I just talked about, it's around 150 bucks. Does it make sense to spend that kind of money? Is this knife that much better, like 15 to 150? Is it 10 times better? And that's the question I often get asked. That costs twice as much. Is it twice as good? That costs 10 times as much. Is it 10 times as good? And so we've got to talk a little bit about price and performance here. Certainly as you increase in price, okay, you can get better performance, right? So a Recon One is a great knife. I think they go for around 130 bucks, and you're hard pressed. There's not going to be much that's substantially better than a Recon One out there, right? You could pay a little bit more maybe for a slightly better steel, but S35EN is a pretty stinking good steel. So at this price point, things kind of start to tap out, right? You can pay more. Hold on, 1 second ago I had it. There we go. Let's switch to folders for a second since we're talking about this. All right, here is the Spyderco Swayback. I love this knife. I love the design. I love the materials. I love the steel. I love that blade shape with that fantastic hollow grind. There's quite a price disparity between these two. This is at least twice as much. In fact, more than twice as much. So that begs the question, right? Is it 2 times better? And of course, the big thing for this is, in fact, from a straight utility standpoint, the answer is no, right? If I'm lost in the woods, I much rather have this than this. Okay. Now, if I'm out with my wife at a restaurant and need to cut something, of course, this is going to be what I would rather have. Okay, so there are different functions here that we need to consider, but there are also different materials. So we've got CTS XHP, we've got titanium here, we've got a really nice level of fit and finish on the Spyderco. Not that cold steel is anything shabby, but things that we can improve through paying more, right? We could add, right, lock and lockup, fit and finish, which by the way affects lockup, especially on a frame lock, for example. The fit and finish really does make a difference, right? That lock bar and the way that it's coming into contact with the blade tang there, that is going to make a difference. So here's the Spyderco. So fit and finish, that matters. Materials, right? So we've got G10 and S35VN, we've got titanium and CTSXHP, all favorite materials of mine. These are going to cost you, right? Could I save some money by going down to OS 8 or 14C28N or 8CR13 MOV on the blade steel here and going down to just a stainless steel frame lock or FRN or something like that? Yes, right. You can definitely knock some money off the price by switching out those materials for more affordable options. And so those things are all part of what make the price what it is. But don't forget, marketing also has a big impact on price. Okay. Um, Benchmade fancies themselves as a high-end company, so let's bring the Benchmade back. Part of Benchmade's pricing structure is not just charging more for different or better materials, it's pricing their items at a point that puts them above everything else. And in doing that, they're trying to make a statement, right? That we're better, right? We're the premium brand. We're the one you buy, if you've got lots of money to blow, and you want the very best, and money's no object, then Benchmade, right? Because don't forget people, and remember, all knife companies are marketing primarily to non-knife people. Okay, I mean, there are some rare exceptions, but most of the time, if a knife company is going to be profitable, they need the average person to be buying their knives. They want to sell 100,000 units through Walmart. They don't want to sell 100 to the Instagram knife community. So they're marketing to average people, and many, many, many average people still think that if it costs more, right, it must be better, right? More money, more better. Okay. So given all of that, we can answer a lot of pricing questions along those lines. However, we also need to remember that as we increase the um, performance, the quality, the materials, the fit and finish of something, it's not just a straight line graph. So I actually took a minute and drew a little graph here for 2 seconds. Let's throw this in: price versus performance. All right, we sometimes make the mistake of thinking that it's like a straight line graph, that I can get increasing performance by paying more, and as one goes up, so the other goes up. But that's not how it works. Okay, so performance, I mean, in this portion of the graph, you can sort of see that maybe it's not going too crazy, but very quickly, right? When you go from cold steel um, to zero tolerance, when you start getting into very, very refined machining with extremely close tolerances and really high-end materials where you're paying attention to every single detail, right? Every one of those details matters. And I'll tell you a quick story that stands out to me along these lines. Okay. Um, if you follow the Grimsmos on YouTube, you know, they do these frequent shop tours with all of their upgrades, right? And they're now, this was actually from a couple of years ago, so who knows where they are now. But a couple of years ago, they had a video about a lathe, and they'd spent like $2 million on a lathe so that they could get closer, tighter specs by a few hundred thousandths of an inch. Well, those are extremely small numbers and extremely tight tolerances, and you're spending exorbitant amounts of money to get those tighter tolerances. All right, so because of all that, price does not just nicely climb at a steady rate. You know, Grimsmo, they're working somewhere up here where a little teeny increase in price, I mean a little teeny increase in quality or performance jacks the price way, way up because they've got to spend stupid amounts of money on equipment to get there. They've got to spend stupid amounts of money to machine the higher end steels like, and that's just one example, right? So when you ask the question, is this 10 times better since it costs 10 times more? You're missing the fact that this graph is not a straight line graph. You can't just go up 10 performance units and that's going to equal 10 price units. Okay, it doesn't work that way. As you go up in performance, the price increases exponentially, not linearly. So that's my answer to the question. If it's, X times more, is it actually X times better? Here's some of the knives we've looked at while considering all of this. I hope you enjoyed the video. And I hope that sheds a little bit of light on some of what's involved in knife pricing. And I know there are definitely other things that are considered as well, what the competition's doing and how they're doing it. And, anyway, there's a lot of other things that go into trying to price a knife so that it'll sell. But just keep in mind that the 10 times better, 10 times more equation just doesn't work essentially at all. All right, thanks a lot for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Don't forget to check those links. It's a huge, huge help to the channel when you either use my discount code Sharp Stuff over at White Mountain Knives, or when you use those affiliate links in the description box. Even use that Amazon link. They all really, really help a lot. Thanks a lot. We'll talk to you soon.